This morning, a new ordinance in Sun Prairie could hold parents accountable if their kids are caught bullying. We'll tell you how.
And as the number of those getting sick from vaping continues to rise, Wisconsin schools are fighting to help bring those numbers down.
And from the lunch hour to a meager 20 minutes, parents, educators, and doctors all agree that kids nowadays don't have enough time to eat their lunch. How some local schools are tackling that issue.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, September 4th, and finally feeling a little September-like out there this morning. Yesterday was so humid, it felt like summer. It
certainly was.
A flip of a switch overnight.
Yes, that cold front moved through and really took the humidity with it, so much more pleasant conditions today. Take a live look from the WISC-TV sky cam. We are dealing with a bit of cloud cover in the area this morning, so still kind of cloudy early today. Sunrise officially happens in about a half an hour. Our temperatures are in the 50s. We're down a degree here in Madison to 58, 57 in Janesville, 57 in the Dells. You may remember yesterday at this time, temperatures were right around 70 degrees. We'll be lucky to hit 70 today. In fact, here in Madison, I think we'll stop at 69 for the high. Light north winds and partly sunny skies expected, though, so a very pleasant afternoon. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We'll see what's happening on area roads. Getting a little busier on Stoughton Road, but that's about the only spot that you're seeing any brake lights this morning. Otherwise, no accidents to report in and around Dane County. And that's your first alert traffic.
Kind of nice to see those crisper fall temperatures. I know, Josh, you said you already did some holiday decorating.
Yeah, I put the fall decor up yesterday, and it really wasn't feeling like it, but now that it's September, feeling a little bit more like it. So.
I've seen a few leaves starting to turn as well, so I guess it's that time of the year.
Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Breaking into the Channel 3000 Alert Center overseas this morning, Hong Kong's chief executive is withdrawing a controversial bill that had sparked weeks of protests there. That proposal would have extradited criminal suspects to mainland China. Protesters demanded the bill be withdrawn and that Chief Executive Carrie Lam step down.
The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends students get at least 20 minutes for lunch every day. That means 20 minutes to actually sit down and eat, not including time spent waiting in line for food or lining up for recess.
Area schools agree students are simply not given enough time, and Christina Laurie joins us live with the local principal to explain what they are doing about it. Christina, good morning.
Hi, Josh and Keeley. There's been an increased focus on what kids are eating, but not how long they actually have to eat that food. How do you make the most of the 20 minutes you're given to eat lunch? Todd Bruner, he's the principal at Sugar Creek Elementary School, here to talk about that this morning. So your school is on the cutting edge of how to make the most of that 20 minutes. What are some of the things that you're doing?
Yeah, so when this school was built after the Korean War, it was for a small rural population where the town kids walked home for lunch and the children from farms ate in the classroom. Today, it's a quarter-mile from end-to-end school. There are 2 schools in the building, 750 kids, and we serve breakfast and lunch. So we can't change the structure, so what we've done is really analyze our systems. The first thing we did, and this helped us win a National Healthy School Award, is we started recess before lunch. So it's recommended by the U.S. Department of Education, the American Dietetic Association. Children run around, they have recess, the bell rings, they're hungry. They come in quickly, they eat healthy, they eat more, they make better choices.
They're also not lining up early to head outside either.
Exactly, so they're staying here longer and eating better. We also teach children where our bottlenecks are. So we bring every class into the lunchroom, we explain where the bottlenecks are in our system, we ask for their help, we give them tips on how to make the lunchroom flow quickly. And then classrooms that work together with us keep it quiet above and clean below. They win our school's highest acknowledgement each week, the Golden Lunch Tray.
Yeah, show that off.
Sure, sure. So this is for classrooms that do their very best on helping us with the bottlenecks. We also are a very diverse school. So 190 students here are English language learners, 190. So we have a lot of staff work in our lunchroom, and they are staff who, in many cases, are native Spanish speakers. We also really utilize children, so the oldest children scan themselves in to make the lunch line go faster. We have kids in the colder months, they can wear their coats to the lunchroom, they sit on them or they wear them. That way they're not losing time walking all the way back to their locker to drop their coats off and come back.
And that probably also helps them establish their own space.
It does.
Follow those lunch guidelines.
Right. And then we have classrooms assigned to seats. So children don't waste time walking around the lunchroom trying to find a seat. They know exactly where to go. And then the last thing, which is common sense, is instead of a lunch hour of 3 lunch shifts a day, 2 lunch shifts a day, we have 10. So every 10 minutes, a new class comes in, maybe 2 classes. So we constantly have groups of 50 or 60 or 65 kids, rather than 3 times we have 300 kids standing in line. So that makes the whole lunchroom go smoother and quicker. And we have really found children have more time to eat. The lunchroom feels like a calm and peaceful place, and that they're ready for an afternoon of learning.
And all of these different ideas have led you to getting an award. We're going to talk more about that, Josh and Keely, ahead in our 6:30 hour with Principal Bruner.
All right, Christina Laurie live for us this morning. Christina, thank you.
A new ordinance in Sun Prairie could give parents a ticket if their kids bully another. The Sun Prairie City Council approved it last night with a tie-breaking vote coming from the mayor. Now, this is similar to a rule Monona passed 6 years ago. Over the course of the night's meeting, many people spoke passionately on the issue, including someone who read a note from a friend and someone who works in restorative justice.
On this first day of school today, my daughter finally had enough. She tried to commit suicide. As I sit in this room, as you sit in that room, I will sit here and wish I would have done more.
Restorative justice has the same goals that everybody in this room wants: healing, peace, and community. Using a police citation or police warning to intervene in youth conflict continues the cycle of harm. It shows kids that to stop harming people, that they have to be harmed themselves.
The second woman you just heard from feared there could be unintentional consequences for minority populations. According to the ordinance passed, police must use restorative justice as a means to intervene first.
With 32 confirmed cases of vaping-related illnesses in Wisconsin, schools are taking steps to stop students from vaping. The Menominee Falls School District surveyed students and found that almost 50% have tried vaping before and 25% do it regularly. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services says last year, 1 in 5 students in the state were using e-cigarettes. For parents, these statistics are scary.
It's terrifying how sick kids are getting and dying now. I mean, I don't know, it just worries me.
To raise awareness, the Menominee Falls School District plans on putting posters up around the school and sending emails out to parents. Just last week, the Milwaukee County Health Department asked everyone to stop vaping and using e-cigs.
The executive director of Madison School and Community Recreation is out of jail on signature bond this morning. 44-year-old Jacob Tissue is facing 12 counts of possession of child pornography. The Madison School District placed him on leave after his arrest last Thursday. A court decided that Tissue won't be allowed to have unsupervised contact with any children other than his own. He'll be back in court next week.
A judge is giving a Rock County woman convicted of child neglect additional jail time after the way she acted in court. Heather and Lakedrick McCoy were sentenced to 3 years of probation for 5 counts of child neglect Monday. In spring of 2018, officers say they found 8 children living in filth in their Beloit home. But Judge Carl Hansen says he felt Heather McCoy was not taking the case seriously in court and gave her an additional sentence of 2 months in jail.
From the time that I took your plea, you have rolled your eyes at me. You have shaken your head in disagreement with everything that everyone in this courtroom has said about what has happened in these circumstances. And I sit here today, ma'am, fully believing that you do not appreciate the seriousness of the willful neglect that you demonstrated towards these children.
McCoy says the people that know her know she's a good mother and conditions have improved in their home. She has until November to begin her 60-day sentence.
The man accused of punching a woman and dragging her through the street is scheduled to be sentenced later today. 23-year-old Jerome Winslow pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree recklessly endangering safety and 1 count of substantial battery back in June. Winslow told police he punched the 19-year-old woman at least 3 times as she walked home on Langdon Street back in February. The woman suffered multiple broken bones in her face and jaw that required surgery.
More local news now at 6:09 this morning. Safety is a top priority for many businesses at the top of State Street, but the problem seems to be getting worse, at least for some. We've told you about some of the growing safety concerns in the past, but now business owners say the aggressive panhandling is getting so bad, it's getting more difficult to keep employees around. Ian's Pizza confirmed to us yesterday that some employees were assaulted after an aggressive panhandler went too far. The law says there can't be any restrictions placed on panhandling because it's considered protected free speech. But the alder for that area says if the panhandling becomes physical, there is something you can do.
Call 911 and report it so that people can be arrested for disorderly conduct, because that's the only law that we have on the books to deal with this.
Ian's Pizza's assistant manager told us he wants to see more police patrolling the area, especially after 10 o'clock at night. Alder Mike Verveer says police are more likely to allocate patrol staff when they have documented incidents that call for it.
Happening now, officials are still searching for a missing woman in Marquette County. A silver alert was issued last night for 90-year-old Lucy Schultz of Oxford. She was last seen leaving her home around 4 yesterday afternoon and was wearing a green sweater and blue jeans at the time. Madison Mayor Sati Rhodes Conway first capital budget includes funding that could make bus rapid transit a reality by 2024. It increases the city's investment in flood mitigation projects and focuses on affordable housing as well. The mayor says from 2007 to 2015, 9 out of 10 new Madison residents were renters. The budget revealed yesterday makes $1 million available each year to acquire land that could be used to build affordable housing and other neighborhood supporting developments. 3 new proposals circulating in the state legislature are designed to help struggling farmers. The bills would help farmers pay off college debt, plan for retirement, and encourage diverse operations. The measures were unveiled yesterday and are sponsored by Democrats but have bipartisan support. They are the latest attempt to slow the number of farms going bankrupt in our state. Well, still ahead on Wednesday morning, we're continuing to track Hurricane Dorian as it heads up the U.S. coast. We'll tell you how some Wisconsinites are lending a hand to help those affected. But first, much quieter across southern Wisconsin this morning. Hattie will tell us just how long the sunshine will stick around. You're watching News 3 Now this morning. We thank you for that, and we will be right back.
This
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. A little bit of a cooler start this morning, but we still have some clouds in the area just like yesterday. Much drier though. Take a look at the high temperatures yesterday. Once the rain moved out, temperatures heated up pretty quickly and we climbed into the low 80s here across southern Wisconsin. Take a look at some of those numbers to the north though, significantly cooler. In fact, Superior did not make it out of the 60s yesterday, and that's pretty close to what we are expecting here in Madison today. Now on Weather Track, you will see a little bit of cloud cover sinking southward through the state this morning. Skies will be partly sunny as we head into the afternoon, but that cloud cover and a light north wind will make things a little bit cooler. And here's a look at those clouds from our WISC-TV Skycam shot this morning. Not able to see much of a sunrise right now with those clouds in place. Temperatures, though, are cooler. Yesterday at this time, we were right around 70 degrees. Today, we're about 10 to 15 degrees cooler, so you'll notice the difference as soon as you step out the door early today. Numbers, well, this is what it looks like. It's 58 here in Madison, 57 in Platteville, 55 in Prairie du Chien, and 57 in the Dells. Our winds are light from the north, and they'll stay that way through the day today, so definitely not as windy as it was yesterday. That north wind is going to keep dew points down. We're in the low 50s and we'll hover right around 50 through the day, so no issues with humidity today. Your future track forecast model shows you temperatures in the mid-50s this morning with some clouds, turning partly sunny as we head towards the afternoon with highs reaching the upper 60s, close to 70 in a few spots. In fact, Prairie du Chien and Janesville may top around 70 degrees. Overnight tonight, look for clear skies. Overnight, temperatures will drop back into the 50s, though. A little bit cooler tomorrow morning than it is this morning. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. We have temperatures that will climb into the mid-70s for Thursday and Friday. Look for very pleasant conditions. For the upcoming weekend, though, we are back into the 60s, so a little bit of a taste of fall in the air heading into the upcoming weekend. Now let's get a look at those first alert traffic maps this morning. We'll send it over to Josh Tim for all the details. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Another quiet start on the Beltline so far. No major delays showing up in either direction at this point. Checking out some other roads here in Dane County. Just some of the usual brake lights are beginning to pop up on Verona Road, especially between Highway PD and the Beltline ramps. No delays showing up downtown around the Capitol Square and UW campus. Volume not an issue at this point. And other main routes, including the interstate, they're cruising along at the usual speeds with no major issues. For your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh and Hattie. It turns out Madison comes in around the middle of the pack when it comes to driving.
Wallet Hub is out with the best and worst cities to drive in this year. Madison rated 54 out of the 100 largest cities in the U.S. Researchers focused on overall driver friendliness, with data ranging from average gas prices to annual hours and traffic congestion. While Madison came in at 54, Milwaukee came in at 87th, Raleigh, North Carolina came in on top, and Detroit, Michigan is at the bottom.
A total of 33 disaster volunteers from Wisconsin are now on their way to the southeast to help with response and recovery efforts for Hurricane Dorian. The Red Cross says about 45% of the homes in Grand Bahamas and Abaco are destroyed, and so far at least 7 people have been killed. Officials in the Bahamas say search and rescue efforts haven't been able to be deployed, but they might get sent out today. A Wisconsin native who now lives in the Bahamas has been riding out this storm.
All the roofs are pretty much gone. And then on top of that, you have 7 to 10 feet of water still in town. I mean, I don't know how to really put that into perspective.
Brian Sauer grew up in Green Bay, went to school at UW-Milwaukee, and is now, of course, a head brewer at the only brewery in the Bahamas. This is the 3rd hurricane he's experienced since moving to the Bahamas just about 4 years ago. The brewery is located in Nassau, which Sauer says didn't get much damage.
More local news now. If you hear sirens in Rock County today, authorities want you to know it's only a drill. Sirens will go off across Rock County at 12:05 this afternoon. The Rock County Sheriff's Office is asking people not to call 911 or local media about it because it is only a drill. The sirens should sound for about 1 or 2 minutes. Now that's different from the 3 to 5 minutes sirens would actually sound in a tornado warning. If you find a siren near you that doesn't go off this afternoon, you are asked to call the Rock County Sheriff's Office. All right, coming up on 20 minutes past 6 o'clock. Up next, changes are coming to Walmart's inventory in the wake of another mass shooting. We'll tell you what items you will and won't be finding on their shelves soon.
But first, a live look outside on a Wednesday morning, feeling like fall out there. Hattie has your bus stop forecast when News 3 Now This Morning continues.
Live look at downtown Madison at 6:23 on your Wednesday morning. Beautiful start out there, but you're going to notice it is much cooler out there this morning than it was yesterday, Hattie. And I know a lot of other kids heading back to school today, the ones that didn't have to go back yesterday. Everyone now in school. And
everyone's in school today, right? Yes, this is a good day for parents.
Back to reality.
I know. I told my kids, just grab a sweatshirt this morning. You'll be fine. It is definitely a little cooler. You can see just a little sliver of sunshine on our map here, looking to the east from the station. So some clouds in the area, but definitely a cooler start to the day. Take a look at our current temperatures. 58 here in Madison. Yesterday at this time, we were right around 70 degrees, 56 in the Dells, 56 in Monroe, 59 in Boscobel this morning. But overall, temperatures running about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. What's down as well is the dew point. Dew points are in the upper 40s and lower 50s, and they'll stay steady through the day today. So much lower humidity and much more comfortable conditions. Shouldn't be as sticky in the classroom today. Here's a look at your bus stop weather forecast. Again, you may want a light sweatshirt this morning. Temperatures will be in the 50s. We climb to highs in the upper 60s this afternoon with partly sunny skies. Have a wonderful day.
Time right now is 6:24. Eating a diet with nothing but carbs like Pringles or French fries and also bread can be posing quite the problem when it comes to health problems, but scientists are now saying it can make you blind.
And that's what has happened to just one teen. The unidentified patient first reported fatigue to doctors when he was 14 years old. The doctors knew about his diet, so they told him to eat better and gave him vitamin B12 injections. But by the time he was 17, he was had lost his vision. At least one scientist isn't so sure that a poor diet alone can be blamed for blindness and says the report should have been looked into for genetic defects and other environmental factors.
Also in our new study this morning says drinking sodas could increase your risk of death. Researchers looked at more than 450,000 people from 10 European countries for up to 19 years. They found that people who drank 16 ounces or more a day of sugar-sweetened soft drinks had a higher risk of dying from digestive disorders. People who drank the same amount of diet sodas had higher risks of dying from cardiovascular disease. The study didn't find that soda caused those deaths.
Walmart is announcing major changes in the sale of its ammunition and its policy about customers who openly carry guns. The company plans to stop selling short-barrel rifle and handgun ammunition and stop selling handguns in Alaska, which is the last state where the weapons are still being sold. They're asking that customers no longer carry guns into the stores in states where open carry is permitted. Deer rifles and ammo will still be for sale. This announcement comes after 22 people were killed inside a Walmart in El Paso, Texas a month ago.
And just a few hours after Walmart's announcement, Kroger asked their customers not to carry guns into its stores as well. Kroger owns stores like Pick and Save and Kopp's here in our area. The company says they'll also call on lawmakers to pass gun reform laws like requiring stronger background checks. They haven't released a plan yet on how they'll enforce this request.
Still ahead, we've got the top 3 things you need to know this morning before you head out the door.
Also ahead at 6:30 with school lunch times dwindling down to as little as 20 minutes, how a local effort is making sure your kids have enough time to eat lunch at school. This is News 3 Now this morning. Stick around.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for staying with us on this Wednesday, September 4th. Starting to see a little breaks in the clouds out there this morning, Hads.
Yeah, a little bit. You can see some clear sky overhead. Also a little sliver of sunshine on the horizon.
Kind of cooler out there this morning, though.
Definitely feeling a bit like fall.
All right, we'll get to your forecast here in just a little bit.
But first, here are the top 3 things you need to know as you start your morning. The FBI is now looking into the deadly Labor Day boat fire off the California coast. The U.S. Coast Guard suspended their search for victims yesterday. Of the 39 people aboard, only 5 survived. 20 bodies have been recovered after crews searched for nearly 24 hours.
The Trump administration is redirecting more than $3.5 billion of Pentagon money to pay for 175 miles of wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. The funds are coming from unspecified military construction projects. The American Civil Liberties Union said it would be seeking a court order to block that move.
Rounding out the top 3, we're now seeing images of just some of the widespread devastation from Hurricane Dorian over in the Bahamas. Thousands of homes have been destroyed or damaged, and people have been using watercrafts to try and rescue residents who have been stranded by flood waters. The storm isn't expected to directly hit Florida, but it could make landfall over in the Carolinas later this week.
All right, those are your top 3 things to know this morning. And now Hattie's here with the outdoor weather and traffic. How's it going, Hads?
Good morning, Josh and Keely. Well, as you head out the door this morning, you're definitely going to notice it feels a little bit cooler today. Temperatures are starting in the 50s with cloudy skies. Here's a look at some of those current readings. 57 in Watertown and Platteville this morning. The Dells is down to 56. We're at 58 here in Madison. Our temperatures over the next 12 hours will climb, but not as high as yesterday. We'll climb to the upper 60s with a light north wind this afternoon. Now let's get a look at those traffic maps once again as everyone gets ready to head to work and school. We're starting to see a few more brake lights show up on the Beltline at Stoughton Road and Park Street and Verona Road. No major delays or accidents right now to tell you about. There is a little bit of a slowdown, though, on Verona Road as you head towards the Beltline right around PD. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you, Hattie. As kids go back to school this week, we've talked about how important it is to make sure your kiddos are eating healthy at lunch, but now there's some concern about how long they're getting to eat.
What was once called the lunch hour has been replaced by a 20-minute period to quickly eat, if students even get that long. Christina Laurie joins us this morning to explain why that concern is growing. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Josh and Keely. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that all students get at least 20 minutes. That's how much they get here at local Verona elementary schools. Todd Bruner is here. Hi. In the last half hour, we were talking about some of the changes that you made to maximize that 20 minutes. Right. One of them is moving recess before lunch. How does that help?
Yeah, so here at Sugar Creek, we've moved recess before lunch. It's recommended by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the American Dietetic Association. What it means is children go outside for recess, they run around, they have a great time, and when it's time for lunch, they come in quicker, they are hungrier, there's less waste in the lunchroom is quieter, and there are actually fewer kids that have behavioral issues in the afternoon or make trips to the nurse because they have eaten great meals.
And that change that you made, it helped your school actually win an award. Can you talk about that?
So we've won awards here at Sugar Creek Elementary School in Verona from the U.S. Department of Agriculture and from Wisconsin's Department of Education, Department of Instruction. So we have a healthy school committee at our school that looks at ways to make recess, phy-ed, the lunchroom, and then bring in family engagement, make them all active parts of our school. For example, we have a fun run every September that our PTO does. That'll be in a few weeks. A Saturday morning in September, we'll have 600 people outside running with their children. We started something called All School Walks. So a few times a year, kids get off the buses or they get dropped off by their families. They and their parents can join us in a 1-mile walk around school. Teachers are cheering. We're having music playing. It really just builds in kids this mentality of taking good care of their bodies. And then in the lunchroom, this little cafeteria here, we serve over 5,000 meals a week. So we really teach kids, this is a restaurant. It's one of the largest serving facilities in the city of Verona. And here's how you make it work. Our food is laid out in banquet style for children. We teach them how to make healthy choices with the options offered. We teach them that if they really wanted dessert, they could make the chocolate milk their dessert, or they could drink vanilla milk, white milk, and maybe use a cookie for their dessert. So what we found is kids are eating healthier, they're taking better care of their bodies, and as a school and a principal, I have a school full of well-behaved, well-fed children who are going to lead healthy lives.
And establishing those healthy habits young is so important. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning, Todd. And we want to get out of their way because kids here are going to start funneling in. This is one of the only elementary schools, well, one of the first elementary schools, rather. Sugar Creek was one of the first to offer free breakfast for all of its students, as well as lunch. Keelia, Josh.
Certainly something parents are definitely talking about. Thank you, Christina.
All right, 6:35 right now. Coming up in the morning sprint, the Brewers season is starting to wrap up and the Packers are just getting started. We'll have your latest sports stats.
And we are all pinked out this morning to honor a special moment in Madison's history. That story is coming up on News 3 Now this morning. Stay with us.
.39 right now. We've been asking you to share your morning with us, and Linda sent us this on Facebook of a morning sky at the lake.
Gorgeous sunrise. It's going to kind of make me miss the summer.
I was going to say,
perfect.
yeah, that's, oh my gosh, that's like a picture perfect scene. But we're also getting some great sunrise pictures this time of the year too.
Yeah.
So
keep them coming.
There you go.
What does your morning look like? You can take a picture and post it on the Channel 3000 Facebook page or on Twitter using the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We will share our favorites right here. And Josh and I are in pink for a very good reason today.
Yeah, it marks the 40th anniversary of the flamingo invasion on Bascom Hill. 4 decades ago, students on their way to the first day of classes for the new school year were met by 1,008 pink flamingos covering the hill. It was a prank put on by the Pail and Shovel Party, a mock political organization that had taken control of UW's student government. The prank has made a lasting impression on the community. In 2009, the city of Madison actually designated the lawn ornament as the city's official bird. Now every fall, the Alumni Association relives the prank as part of their Fill the Hill fundraiser. I love that.
I love it too, and people would think that the pink flamingo is the state bird. It's actually the pink flamingo lawn ornament, so not an actual bird. Very important distinction there.
Very important there.
Well, a sunny start to our morning, and we're waking up with pretty comfortable conditions for your Wednesday. Hattie is updating her forecast coming up.
But first, it is Wednesday, September 4th, and we want to say happy birthday to Kaylin, Broxton, and all the other kids turning 3 today. Thanks for starting your day early and celebrating with us on News 3 Now this morning. Time right now is 6:44 on a Wednesday morning. Live look outside. Look at that sky. That's awesome. Kind of like orange.
Looks a little spooky.
It does look a little spooky, and we're kind of getting into that season now.
Fall weather, appropriate looking sky.
I just put my fall decor up yesterday. Got some pumpkins, a little scarecrow hats. We're getting into that season, that time of the year.
We are. I'm so far behind compared to you, Josh. Just got the kids out the door. That's all I could manage yesterday. But again, we do have kind of a feel of fall in the air today. But let's start with the tropics. This is Hurricane Dorian. You can clearly see the eye defined. Those bands of rain now impacting the eastern coast of Florida. This storm is finally starting to move, though. That is the good news. But watches and warnings extend from Florida all the way up to Virginia for this storm system. So still going to be a major player in the weather in the southeast through the rest of this week, right into the upcoming weekend. Let's take a look at the current statistics for this storm. It's a Category 2 storm right now, 105 miles an hour. But again, that movement is critical. It's now moving to the north-northwest at 8 miles an hour. After being nearly stationary for about a day, it is finally starting to move once again. Now, the general consensus is that this storm is going to follow the coastline of the U.S. It will stay a Category 2 storm through the day today, so dangerous storm surge, flooding conditions and strong winds are expected along the coast. By midday tomorrow, again, still a Category 2 storm just off the coast of South Carolina. Through the day Thursday into Friday, at some point it is going to weaken a little bit to a Category 1 storm, but still winds gusting up to 115 miles per hour. And the current forecast takes it very close to the North Carolina shoreline sometime on Friday. So again, bears watching right into the upcoming weekend. Here's a look at our forecast. Much quieter by contrast. Normal highs this time of the year are in the mid-70s. We're definitely falling short today. By the time we get to the end of next week, our normal highs are down to 73, and we should be a little bit closer to normal by then. High pressure is in control of the weather. This cold front was responsible for a little bit of rain yesterday. All the humidity, though, moved away as that front passed through the area. So humid conditions along the East Coast, much more comfortable as high pressure starts to build into the area today. Take a look at the difference in temperature. This morning in St. Louis, waking up 75 degrees. It is in the 50s, almost 20 degrees cooler here in Madison. And a look at those numbers a little closer to home. 57 in Watertown, 54 this morning in Mineral Point. Prairie du Chien starts at 55 degrees. Now, our future track forecast model is picking up on a little bit of that cloud cover that we have in the area this morning. As we head towards the afternoon, though, turning partly sunny, in fact, clearing by this evening. High temperatures will be in the upper 60s, close to 70 degrees. Clear and cool this evening as temperatures drop into the 50s overnight. Looks like we're going to start out tomorrow morning a little bit cooler than today even. Temperatures will be in the lower 50s. Here's a look at that extended forecast. We do get back into the 70s, though, for Thursday and Friday. Kind of cool, though, feeling like fall this weekend with highs in the upper 60s. Here's a look at our pet walk forecast. Is Romeo on a boat?
Looks like it.
The boat captain.
Yeah, very cool.
Captain
in
Romeo.
Stoughton, one last ride before the end of the season.
Love that. All right, Hads, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, stay with us. The morning sprint is up next, but first, here's Anthony Mason with what's ahead at 7. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, we're in the Bahamas with the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. We'll look at a possible link between climate change and more intense storms as the hurricane moves towards the Carolinas. Plus, what the Trump administration is taking money away from to fund the president's campaign promise on the border wall. And in the studio with Vince Gill with 21 Grammys. He has more than any other male country artist. Gill tells us what's behind his 15th and most personal studio album yet. We will see you at 7.
It's 6:51, time for the morning sprint as our team gives you everything you need to know before you head out the door.
We start in the Bahamas this morning, where we're now seeing just some of the first images of the widespread devastation from Hurricane Dorian. Thousands of homes have been destroyed or damaged, and people have been using watercrafts to try and rescue residents who have been stranded by floodwaters. At least 7 people have died as a result of Dorian. The storm isn't expected to hit Florida directly, but could make landfall in the Carolinas later this week.
Our weather is much quieter, especially today. Just a few clouds moving through the area this morning, but turning partly sunny as we head towards the afternoon. Should be a very comfortable day. We'll climb from the 50s this morning to highs in the upper 60s this afternoon. Just a light northerly wind with low humidity today.
Thank you, Hattie. Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes-Conway's first capital budget proposal would increase the city's investment in flood mitigation projects and also focuses on affordable housing. The budget proposal revealed yesterday makes $1 million available each year to acquire land that could be used to build affordable housing and other neighborhood supporting developments.
3 new proposals circulated in the state legislature are designed to help struggling farmers. The bills would help farmers pay off college debt, plan for retirement, and encourage diverse operations. The measures were unveiled yesterday and are sponsored by Democrats, but have bipartisan support. They're the latest attempt to slow the number of farms going bankrupt in Wisconsin.
The executive director of the Madison School and Community Recreation is out of jail this morning on signature bond. 44-year-old Jacob Tissue is facing 12 counts of possession of child pornography. The Madison School District placed him on leave after his arrest last Thursday. A court decided that Tissue won't be allowed to have unsupervised contact with any children other than his own. He'll be back in court next week.
With 32 confirmed cases of vaping-related illnesses in Wisconsin, schools across the state are taking steps to stop students from vaping. The Menominee Falls School District surveyed students and found that almost 50% have tried vaping before and 25% do it regularly. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services says last year 1 in 5 students in the state were using e-cigarettes.
The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends students get at least 20 minutes to eat their lunch every day. And while local schools like here at Sugar Creek Elementary School do offer students that 20 minutes, parents, educators, doctors all agree that is still not enough time. Mostly because kids have to stand in line to get their food, which cuts into their actual eating time. This year, several Verona elementary schools are making changes of their own. One created 4 lunch lines to help speed up wait times. Another runs a workshop at the beginning of the year to teach kids how to quickly grab items and find a seat. So here at Sugar Creek, they moved their lunch to after recess so that kids will be hungrier and eat more quickly. High school lunch periods are longer and aren't a concern right now.
A new ordinance approved by the Sun Prairie City Council could give parents a ticket for their kids if they bully. The council passed that ordinance last night. Over the course of the night, many spoke passionately on the issue, including some who opposed it, saying there could be unintentional consequences if the ordinance was introduced. Police will still depend on restorative justice as a first measure.
The FBI is now looking into the deadly Labor Day boat fire off the California coast. The U.S. Coast Guard suspended their search for victims yesterday. Of the 39 people aboard the 75-foot dive boat, only 5 people were found alive. 20 bodies have since been recovered after crews searched a 160-mile area for nearly 24 hours.
The Trump administration is redirecting more than $3.5 billion of Pentagon money to pay for a 175-mile wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. The funds are coming from unspecified military construction projects. The American Civil Liberties Union said it would seek a court order to block the move.
Walmart is announcing major changes in its sale of ammunition and its policy about customers who openly carry guns. The company plans to stop selling short-barrel rifle and handgun ammunition. They're asking that shoppers no longer carry guns into the stores in states where open carry is permitted. Deer rifles and ammo will still be for sale.
Officials are still searching for a missing woman in Marquette County. A silver alert was issued last night for 90-year-old Lucy Schultz of Oxford. She was last seen leaving her home around 4 yesterday afternoon and is wearing a green sweater with blue jeans.
The Packers are gearing up to play the Bears in Chicago tomorrow night to open the NFL's 100th season. Everyone wants to see how the Packers offense works now under new head coach Matt LaFleur and new offensive coordinator Matthew Hackett. Wide receiver Devontae Adams says fans haven't really seen the new offense this preseason. Kickoff is at 7:20 tomorrow night.
The Brewers are still looking to snag a playoff spot, but it's getting dangerously close to being out of reach. With 25 games left, the Brewers are 4 games behind the Cubs for the second wild card spot, and their odds are looking a little better after a win against Houston last night. The final score of that game, Brewers 4, Astros 2. The team's off today before a big 4-game series against the Cubs.
6:56 now. Let's get a final look at your first alert traffic with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Westbound Beltline beginning to pick up so far, especially between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. Going to add about 5 minutes to your drive time. Inbound John Nolan starting to tap the brakes at Rimrock, and then again at Olin Avenue, making your way into the downtown area. Verona Road on the brakes, north end southbound approaching the Highway PD intersection. And other main routes heading into the city, they're cruising along at the posted speeds. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Josh, thank you.
And a live look outside from our Edgewater sky camera showing you partly sunny skies this morning. Here's a look at your forecast. Temperatures are a little cooler early today. We're down in the 50s, but we'll climb to highs in the upper 60s this afternoon. Lighter winds and much lower humidity than yesterday. Take a look at that forecast for the end of the week because it gets even better. Temperatures will climb back into the 70s for Thursday and Friday with partly sunny skies. Chances for rain return for the second part of the weekend, and looks like cooler temperatures settle in for at least a couple of days as well.
Starting to look like fall. Thank you for tracking all of that, Hattie.
You're welcome.
And thank you all so much for joining us. Go make it a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.